And that was
Okay.
one of those sightings that I had, probably the most sensational, was also witnessed by 8 other people. So,
Okay.
and that was during a Skywatch in '92. We had organised to go out to Wivenhoe Dam,
Yeah.
and we camped there for the weekend, camped overnight. And when we do something like that, we create an all-night roster. So at that time, we had enough people to have 3 people on for 2 hours through the night, so that the sky was watched all night by someone.
Right.
And about 3 o'clock in the morning, the guys who were on then came running into camp and said, we're seeing something. It's orange. It's high up in the sky. And when we look through binoculars, it's actually 3 objects together. So we thought, ooh. So they managed to wake up 8 of us, and we ran over. And I always like to make this point that we ran, where we were camped was here. I'm going to look at this camera. And there was sort of like a slight rise. And then on the other side, it came down to the waterfront. So I'm running over the rise with a video camera, which turns out it wouldn't work then. Remember, this is a video camera with one of those old videos that you actually put in it. Worked fine before this, didn't work at the time. Anyway, and I ran over, and as I'm coming over the crest of the small hill, the first thing I see is looking down at the water, and I see the reflections of these 3 orange objects on the water. And then I look up and I see them above. And they were about, I never quite get the distances right, but maybe 200 to 300 meters off the shoreline.
Okay.
They were a football shape on their side like this.
Yeah.
And they were the colour of a burnt ember. So if you blew on the ember and get that orange glow, that's what the colour of them they were. They were self-illuminated. They didn't create any, well, they were self-illuminated. Let's just leave it at that. We couldn't see any trails, nothing like that. There was no greater emanation around them. They were just orange glowing objects. And when we're standing on the shoreline and all of us are looking at them, they're silent, they're moving slowly. One then took off very slowly and disappeared into the dark of the night. Another one just went out like that. And another one moved across the water to the other point of land directly opposite us and came down. So some of the guys got in their car and they raced around there to see if they could see anything, because some of them were thinking hoax device. So they're thinking, okay, this could be a problem. It could be fire coming down in the trees. It could be anything. And they're looking around, they couldn't see anything. Then they came back the next morning. They went around again in the daylight, couldn't see anything. No burnt trees, nothing on the ground, no evidence of a hoax device anywhere hanging in the trees or on the ground. So we don't know what that was. And what was more interesting was the response of the people, or the different responses of the people who were there. You know, some are running around saying, it has to be a hoax. Others are going, oh, they listened to our thoughts that we had the week before about, coming out and meeting us before we got here. Others was, like a CE5, calling down the craft, which wasn't called a CE5 then. And, and others saying, oh, this is a message, this is something. Like, people were affected in so many different ways. It was really quite interesting to observe all the different responses from individuals. So I can imagine how the authorities would have their hands full and why they've been putting off disclosure for such a long time,